Now the word يَعِظُهُ is important in the ayah because the word wa'adh in Arabic, which is actually one of the words, its masdar, its infinitive form is used to describe the Quran itself. قَدْ جَاءَتْكُمْ مَوْعِظَةٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. A counsel that touches your heart has come to you from your master. So the idea, you can translate this as he was counseling him, he was advising him. But actually the implication here would be Luqman said to his son at a moment where he can feel that his words are getting through to his heart. So he found an opportunity, he found a moment, and he capitalized on a moment where he was touching his son's heart. Those are not the "did you finish your food" conversations. Those are different kinds of conversations. Those conversations might have to be, and it might even be implied in the text with إِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ, that he said to his son, as if nobody else is around. So maybe it's a good idea that, if you have more than one kid, for example, that two of you take a walk and just have a conversation, right? Because sometimes children get lost in the crowd too. Like they don't have individual attention from parents, because obviously we're pulled in many different directions. But being able to find the time to have an individual conversation with a child is a very powerful thing. Those of you that are adults and have good memories of your parents from the time when you were children, I would imagine you remember a time when you had some exclusive time with your father. Sometime he took you on a walk, sometime he took you fishing, sometime he took you on a trip, sometime he made you ride with him on a horse, sometime he talked to you about something, or sometimes you fixed a car together with him. Those times where you are exclusive with your child and you did something together, they become imprinted memories. They become personality forming memories. Those things stick in their head. Years later, you don't remember all the conversations when you were 11 years old. You don't remember that. You don't remember things that happened when you were 7. You barely remember anything. You remember glimpses. But part of those glimpses, you will notice, are moments you spent with your father, with your mother, that were special. They weren't just we ate together, because you did that every day. They weren't just they bought me a toy, because that happened every Eid. It wasn't just they got me clothes. It wasn't those things, buying stuff, doing the run-of-the-mill things. It was some conversation, some moment, some teaching moment. And those moments are actually part of the wisdom of parenting, to find those moments with our children. We may not realize the impact those conversations have on someone. In fact, those things you remember about your father or your mother, those conversations, if you go back and tell them, "Mom, do you remember when you said this to me?" They'll say, "No." But that was such a transformational thing for you, right? The point I'm trying to make is they won't remember that. They won't remember how significant it is. I'll never know which moment with my child is going to be truly significant. And I'm talking from the positive, and it's also should be mentioned from the negative. I don't know which conversation I have with my child where I was reckless, where I was hurtful, might be truly damaging. If that has happened, I need to make sure I have some kind of, way to erase that or overcome that with a positive experience. These experiences are what kids are going to remember. That's what's going to build them. So in that moment when he has his child's attention, and in that moment when that child is actually open to listening, you can tell that they're opening up in a way that's different. They're actually answering in full sentences. They want to tell you what's going on instead of you probing it out of them like a root canal. It's actually them that want to engage in the conversation. When that's happening, in that moment, the father drops, "Ya bunayya la tushrik billah," my beloved son, my little son. And it's so beautiful that he didn't just give him religious advice. He actually expressed his love for his child first. So now he sees that my child is in a place where his heart is softened. And I can see that we're the best, readers of our children's emotions. We can tell from their face if something is wrong. We can tell from their face when they're feeling something. They're feeling vulnerable. They're feeling like they're let their guard down a little bit. Because, especially with teenagers, for example, they put a hard guard up. And when that guard goes down a little bit, you can tell. You're smart enough to know. And in that moment, the first thing you want to do is make them feel safe. Because, with kids, when they put their guard down, they feel scared. And they have to put their guard back up to feel safe again. But before they put their guard up, you can let them know that you're their guard. And you can let them know that by first expressing not what we want them to hear from us, or what advice we want to give them, or what we want them to change, or what they're doing wrong, or what they could be doing more. We can put all of that aside. The first thing they need to hear from us is that we love them And we love them the same as when we loved them when they were little kids. So even though this boy may be older, the words in the Quran are Ya Bunayya, my little son. And it's almost like my baby. You're a young man already, but I love you just like when you were my baby. And you're hugging this child, and you're putting your arm around this child, and you're praying for this child, and you're kissing their forehead, and you're doing all of that as if they're 3 years old, but they're actually 14 now. They're 16 now, they're 12 now. And you know what? In those moments, I'm 40 something years old. When my dad kisses my forehead, I feel like I'm 8 years old. Right? For those moments, you start melting too. That has an effect. So before the communication, the words are exchanged, there is the right time and the right occasion. وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ. It also means وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ. It suggests that whatever he's about to say, there's a larger conversation happening. Maybe he's giving him advice about how to make money, how to run the business. Maybe he's giving advice about school. Maybe he's giving advice about some friend's trouble that he's having. He's giving some counsel to him, some larger counsel. And in the middle of that counsel, he wants to bring Allah up. And once Ya Bunayya is said, my little son, my beloved son, Ya Bunayya, la tushrik billah. I mean, I'll translate casually first. Don't do wrong by Allah. Instead of saying, don't disrespect your father, be a good son, I need you to listen to me. When I tell you something, just do it. Like, those are moments of those counsels too, right? But he says, son, listen, I may be here one day, I may not. I can tell you what to do today. I can tell you to pray. I can tell you to not go on the wrong websites or places on the internet. I can tell you to avoid this or that or the other. I can tell you to guard your eyes. I can tell you to stay away from kids at school that are doing drugs. I can tell you not to use these bad words that I overheard you use. I can tell you all of those things, but you know what? One day I'll be gone. And even if one day I'm not gone, most of the day I'm gone. I'm working. You're by yourself. But you know who's always there? Allah is always there. And when you think that you're in charge and you're free and you're no longer a slave, you don't have a higher authority, then you've put yourself next to Allah. Because Allah is the highest authority. Don't do that. I don't even mean to, I love you so much. I need you to know, because you know what kids start thinking? Kids start thinking that parents, all they want to do is impose their authority on them. And this father has such profound wisdom. He says, son, my authority, let's put that aside. Right now, I just want you to recognize Allah's authority. I just want you to know Allah is always there. And no one will love you like Allah does. No one will give you advice like Allah does. No one means well for you like Allah does. No one will protect you like Allah does. No one will take care of you like Allah does. No one is watching you like Allah does. No one is recording you like Allah does. No one will correct you like Allah does. No one can punish you like Allah does. That's what his son is being told. Because for a young man, they're not in danger of worshipping idols. They are, however, in danger of اتَّخَذَ إِلَهَهُ هَوَاهُ, their emotions, their desires, their hormones, their wants, their distractions. Those things can become a god. They become the only thing you ever worry about. If I have a son, every time I talk to him, he's talking about Marvel and the Avengers, or he's talking about, anime, or he's talking about video games, and that's all he ever talks about. Or this character, or that character, or this sport, or that sport, or this match, or that match, and this, MMA fighting, or the NBA finals, or which shoes are coming out, or what car, like that's all they're ever talking about. Those things are turning into a god. Because what ancient people used to do is they used to sit in front of idols all day and meditate, right? Think all about these deities. And now if your thoughts, if in here, you're invaded constantly with these things, these material things, these superficial things, then you're meditating over these things. That's what you're thinking about all the time. They've invaded your heart and your mind. And there is a place in our hearts and our minds that belongs to Allah, and you can entertain yourself, you can watch sports, you can play video games. So I do all those things too. You can do those things, but they belong in a lower shelf, way lower shelf by the shoe area in your heart. And then there's the higher shelves that only belong to Allah. And they can't take that place. And this father says to his son, don't do shirk with Allah. My son, I love you. Come here. I want you to be safe. Just don't forget Allah's authority over you. Don't forget why you're really here. You didn't come on this earth to play games. You didn't come on this earth to watch movies. You didn't come on this earth to look good. This is not why you were put on this earth. You were put on this earth to recognize who your master is and to serve that purpose. And while you're serving that purpose, you will enjoy many things in this life. But you will enjoy them as a slave.